Hey, well, I just hit start, so let's see if it's working. Is it not working? I hit start.
All right. So, boom, boom. Where's your YouTube dashboard?
Wait, oh. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, wait, there we go. Okay,
Oh, are you just on a hyper delay?
I guess. But what I really need your help with is, hi, sorry guys. Actually, so I have this video that I want to show,
For sure.
but I don't know how to get it. Oh,
You might want to mute yourself over here.
okay. Sorry, we have a whole new setup, which I thought was going to be ready, but it's not. Okay.
I'm just glad it wasn't me this time.
No, I procrastinated a little bit. Okay, so I have, nope, not that. I have a video that I want to show.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is it? Shit. It's this video.
Some have said that the
But I don't know
president
how to
coming
make
to
the
Cobb
sound
County
happen.
School District brings
like it's
divisive politics
It
to
is?
the county.
Yeah, you just don't have it going into your headphones.
Is that
Ooh.
divisive, like not
Yeah,
supporting
and
the
that-
removal of inappropriate
Actually, I don't need to be
materials
able to
from
hear
the
it,
hands
though.
of children?
Oh no, spoiler alert, go away. We're all good. All right. Thank you.
You think you got it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
they said it's working.
Love it.
Okay,
Love it, love it,
pretend
love it.
like you didn't see that. We'll go back to that later. Hi, everybody. If you could see this setup, it's crazy because I was working from a small laptop and now, yeah, oh, you don't have to text.
We'll do it for a first.
Ah,
Go.
save it for tomorrow.
Oh, you don't want? Okay.
Yeah, do it tomorrow.
Okay.
It's just us guys. It's just us guys. Hi. Oh, wait. Ugh, whatever. So, oh, thank you. I'm wearing this sweater because it is my lucky sweater. Because last time I did a fundraising push, I was wearing this sweater and we raised a lot of money. So that's what I'm hoping for because the fundraising deadline is this Friday. And what does that mean? It means that every once in a while you have to disclose your financials. So that's what you're spending money on, who's been donating, stuff like that. And so there's 2 or 3 deadlines throughout the campaign that you have to do that. And this is one of the last ones before the actual election. And when people see how much money you've raised and who you're raising it from, that adds legitimacy to your campaign. But also, after what I found out this week, I have a lot more money to raise because I am not taking corporate interest money, special interest money, but that's okay. Anyway, how are you guys doing? It's almost back to school week here, which is nuts. Don't forget to like the video, blah, 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 click subscribe, whatever. Am I doing it right? You know what I'm a little nervous about? I didn't check to see if the fundraising was working. Let me think. So today I got distracted because I met with somebody last week. If you came to the stream last week, you already know some of the stuff I'm going to talk about, but the stream last week was a little small. And so I am recycling some of that programming to get it out to more people. But the other week I met with a local blogger who's conservative. We met and we had coffee and I had emailed him about making a correction on his website in regards to something that he said I did that I did not do. It was nothing. He was not being rude to me. He wasn't doing anything like that. He just misattributed something to me that was not me. And I pride myself in integrity. So I was like, can you please correct this? Anyway, he was like, let's go to coffee. And we did. And we talked for 2.5 hours and it was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I know the meter's there, but I didn't check to make sure that that's working, but it's fine. I can check in a second. Anyway, where was I going with that? So he had allowed my opponent to write a letter to put on his website, and he extended that opportunity to me as well. And so I had to write that letter today, and I was going to read it for you if you want. But that's what I was distracted doing this afternoon because I was like, this is my chance to talk to swing voters and people who are like this guy, and he has a lot of integrity. He believes in the First Amendment. He doesn't like the overreach that he's seeing and the corruption. And so we're on the same page with a lot of that. So that is what I did. And I wanted to read that to you. And that is why I'm a little all over the place, but I think this is important to read. Also, I have 3 screens now, which is wild to me, but that's okay. Let me see where it is. Okay. That's not it. Sent. Wrong email. Okay, let's see. Okay. The letter says, so this is kind of like me introducing myself to his readers, which I paused because I saw a truck outside and I was like, the dogs will be barking. The dogs will be barking. Okay. It says, I'm Lindsay DeFranco and I'm running to represent House District 47. I grew up in Alpharetta. I went to Barnwell Elementary, Haynesbridge Middle, and Centennial High. Like a lot of people, I left, built a career, and came back to raise my family in the place I call home. My husband and I have 2 kids in Fulton County Public Schools. Time away teaches you what a community is worth and how fast it can slip away. Also, this had to be under 500 words, and brevity is not my strong suit. Oh, your merch arrived today? Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this and then we'll chat about that. 15 years ago, my husband and I co-founded an independent media company, now home to one of the most successful online news shows ever made, based on an unheard concept at the time. The work was always about dismantling the gatekeepers who decided what ordinary people were allowed to know, and I intend to do the same with politics here, which is true. Transparency, accountability, and putting things in words that normal people can describe or normal people can understand so that we can all participate civically together. Back to it. I also co-founded a media literacy nonprofit because the news business taught me how much depends on people understanding what's being done in their name. I've spent my entire life being held publicly accountable, my work and judgment out in the open, and that doesn't stop here. You may not agree with me, but you will always know where I stand. My door will always be open for you. For years, I've been showing up, testifying at the Capitol on bills most people never hear about until it's too late, sitting in on election board meetings, going to city council meetings, and town halls. If you're not in the room, you miss the details that matter, and the details are usually the whole story, which is true. I have gone to so many state election board meetings, and I see that there are these little operators, like men, who are, they're not tiptoeing, but to me, it looks nefarious. So I'm like, they're tiptoeing around and taking advantage of the people who truly believe, the true believers that the election was stolen. And they are like, here's my card, talk to me, let's do this. And really like amping up the conspiracy theory to people who truly believe this. And I don't like that because you are taking advantage of people. Okay, back to it. The government should work as hard as you do. We pay plenty, our schools are underfunded, and our infrastructure is struggling, and our money goes everywhere except back into this community. Why do our commutes keep growing? Why do you get transferred 4 times when you finally reach someone at a state agency? And of the programs that do get funded, is anyone checking whether or not they help? Meanwhile, the state hands $2.5 billion in tax breaks to data centers owned by the richest companies on earth while sitting on a $14 billion surplus. That surplus was last year. They did cut it down a little bit, but they did it in order to give tax breaks to people, and we'll get back to it. It's all very frustrating. That isn't fiscal responsibility. A budget is a list of priorities, and right now, you're not on it. Property taxes climb because the state underfunds our communities and lets the bills land locally. That's a decision made at the Capitol, and the answer isn't paying more, it's demanding your dollars come home. They promise the same things every year and fix nothing because the problem is the product. Solve it, and they'd have nothing left to run on. When we invest early in healthcare, safety, schools, and strong neighborhoods, we spend less and get more. Yeah, we spend less and get more. That's what I mean by lower costs and higher standards. This seat is open for the first time in 24 years. I'm not asking you to change your party or your identity. I'm asking you to expect more from the people spending your money. With regards, Lindsay DeFranco. So I'm very proud of that. It took way too long to write, but it did help me hone in on my voice. Oh, yay, donation meter is working. Thank you. So did the little alert pop up? I hope the little alert popped up too. That would be fantastic. Awesome. So anyway, my goal this week is to raise $100,000, which I think we can do. And that just means that 2,200 people need to donate $47. Why 47? Because I am in District 47. And I like to remind you that Trump is the 47th president, and we need to reclaim that number. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. So that is where we are right now. I also wanted to, I have meetings coming up with someone on the city council, which I am very excited about because they all endorsed my opponent before even knowing who else was running. And I was able to find somebody who was willing to have coffee with me, not because I want to change their mind, but because, well, of course, change their mind would be great, but mainly because if I'm going to be working in this city, I still need to have relationships with these people. And alert did pop up. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for looking out for me. Friday, I don't know if you saw my post, but I went to a fundraiser for John Ossoff, and I did not realize he was actually going to be there, but he was there. So a friend of mine who's well-connected, actually up in Cherokee County, was like, hey, I'm going to this fundraiser. Do you want to come? You have to donate to go. I was like, fine, whatever. Donating to John. He's like at the top of our ticket. He is going to bring in all the votes for the rest of us down here. I'm in. Love that guy. So I went to this fundraiser, and let's see if I can show you this picture because it was a defining moment of my life. All right, here we go. It may not look like much right now, but let me tell you. So we were in this room. It was a small room, a living room, but there were probably like 50 people jammed into it. And there were people crowded all around. There were a couple people standing in front of me, but I had a perfect view of this man. And he was, so when you go to these fundraisers, if you donate a certain amount, you're on something called a host committee, which means you've donated the most money and your name is on the invitation, and the special guest usually mentions your name. I don't think I donated enough to be on the host committee, but so he was saying thank you to the person whose house it was, and he was saying thank you to people who are on the host committee, and then I heard my name come out of his mouth, and he said Lindsay DeFranco. So, okay, I don't know exactly what he said. He either said I was on the host committee or special guest. TBD, don't know. Two people said two different things. Anyway, I was the last person, and he looked at me and he said, welcome, Lindsay DeFranco, who is running for State House in District 47. And I was like, what the hell? What do you mean? And so I kind of like screamed, but like in a triumphant way, not in an annoying way. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I turned to my deputy campaign manager and I was like, did you just hear that? And he looked at me a little too long, which made me realize he was doing the calculations that when DeFranco came out of his mouth, he was like, oh, her husband, I did an interview with him. It all makes sense. Anyway, it was a wonderful moment. It was actually a wonderful evening because I was able to connect with voters. And actually, some of them are my voters, but a lot of them live in Cobb County, which is where Trump visited last week. Went to a school there, which you saw the clip in the beginning when we were having some technical difficulties. But let me see, let's go back to this. So it was a really great night, and hearing him speak was very inspiring, and we weren't allowed to film, which is fine. I did get in trouble because I didn't hear that at first. But he was talking about how important all of this is, and I was really listening to the content of what he was saying, but I was also paying attention to his body language and how he tells stories in a really effective way. So I was also studying. And what else happened? I just met some really great people, and then lost my train of thought. Oh, and then I met with some people who have older women who have grandkids that live in Milton, and they're going to try to hook me up with those people. And so right now it's 99 days to the election. And so I am still just focused on getting to know people in the community if they will have me. We are planning on doing open houses, basically renting a community center, and every Sunday just saying, hey, I'll be here from this time to this time. Come by, let's chat. We might do some that are more geared towards specific businesses or trades. So like one with people who work at restaurants, one with teachers, etc. So that is the plan. Yeah, Allison, you are saying all the right things. Thank you. Perhaps, there we go. I know I've seen your name before. Thank you so much. Dogs barking. Hold on. One sec. I am going. That doesn't work. Oops. There we go. Okay. I'll start again. It is back to school week next week for the kids here in Fulton County. I don't know about Cherokee County. Sometimes they're on the same wavelength, sometimes they're not. Trey's starting 6th grade, Carter's starting 3rd grade. I'm very excited for Trey. And I think he's a little nervous. I think a lot of stuff in media I think scares kids from middle school, whether it's books that they read or TV shows or whatever. It scares them, which I don't think is right. I don't know how 6th grade is for boys. How is 6th grade for boys? Because I know that middle school for me was my hardest years, for sure. And that, but I don't know how it is with boys and girls. If it's different. Okay. Let's talk about Donald Trump's visit to Cobb County last week. I think it was Wednesday, which can you believe he had the audacity to come visit Georgia after threatening to call our senators unfairly elected or whatever. And he did that whole, it wasn't even a State of the Union. It was like just casting more doubt on our elections, despite the fact that they have been counted 3 times. They've been counted 3 times in 2020, and they have been certified by Republicans in this state. He still continues to claim election, to empower election denialists, and it's driving me crazy. In fact, one of the fake electors who got in trouble for that was right up the street. So that's cool. So Trump visited Wheeler High School in Cobb County. I think it's because, well, a couple reasons. I think he wanted to show his face here because he's losing Georgia, and he will lose Georgia. But also, the Cobb County School Board has been corrupted by MAGA loyalists for a long time. And before I go any further, I need to remind you to vote for Michael Garza, because if he is elected, he will be able to flip the Cobb County School Board. Going back, I do not think that any president, any elected official should be allowed to hold any event at a public school, especially a public school that people want to defund. that it's federal level they want to defund. Oh, hi guys. Hi, we are talking about Trump's visit to Wheeler High School in Cobb County. So I am not in Cobb County. I'm not representing Cobb County, but it's close enough to make a difference. So he went to Wheeler High School and he said he was going to talk about the Trump accounts or something, but it was really just a campaign rally. Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. Okay. I did ask Phil to help and to like send out a little boost. So I'm going to like go back and do a little intro. Hello, all of the new people who are coming in here. We are doing a fundraising live stream where we're chatting about stuff going on in Georgia and with the campaign, but also if you have questions, we'll get to that in a moment. So far, we've covered some campaign stuff and how I've spoken to a local blogger who gave me a chance to write a letter to his readers on his website, which I was really grateful for because we do not vote the same way, but our 2.5-hour meeting was wonderful. Hello, everybody. So this is the the fundraising deadline for this period in time is on Friday. And I am only taking grassroots donations. I am refusing corporate money. I am refusing corporate PAC money, gambling money. They are infecting everywhere. Special interest money. I am only taking donations from the people because I will be beholden to nobody. Nobody. I've gotten this far being beholden to nobody in my life, and I'm not going to start now. So what I'm asking is for $47. If we get $47 donation from 2,200 people, we will reach my goal of $100,000 in a week. And we can really prove that we don't need their money. We don't need to owe anybody anything. So that would be fantastic. My opponent has taken so much special interest money that it has already turned a ton of people off, including that blogger that I was talking about. So I am going to remain true to myself, even if that means, no, I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. Not going to say it if I lose. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So, I'm feeling psyched that I have this opportunity and I think we can do this. It would be record breaking. If you want, I love, buying merch does count. Yes. So you can also buy merch. lindsayforga.com/shop. You can buy merch there. So I appreciate all of you coming. Now back to Wheeler High School, Trump's visit to Wheeler High School. No president, official, whoever should be able to use a public school for an event, period. Not during the summer, and especially not when the kids are there. And especially not when you have been accused and convicted of heinous stuff. Anywho, the people were pissed. Now, my deputy campaign manager actually went to this rally for research. I would have gone, but I was busy. Oh no, is this the picture? Yes, okay. Sorry, John Ossoff, we gotta go. This is a picture of my deputy campaign manager, Ashley, at this rally. I said, how does he smell? And she said, like lies. So that's fantastic. That's where we are these days. The people were pissed. There were protesters outside, and it just so happens that the next day there was a school board meeting. So at that school board meeting, as you can probably tell, people were pissed. And people showed up and people yelled and they screamed and they were like, what the hell are you doing? And they started off the meeting with a propaganda video of how well this rally went. Also, Brian Snitker was there and he spoke. He's the former manager of the Braves. I was so devastated. I kind of knew that he leaned that way, but the fact that he got up there and spoke so strongly in support of this loser. This loser is just, I can't handle it. I don't want to do it. So that sucks. Let me find this video. Okay. I have a video of the president of the Cobb County School Board that you need to see because he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. All right.
Divisive politics to the county. Is that divisive like not supporting the removal of inappropriate materials from the hands of children, or demanding that we require masks and vaccinations during COVID, or not supporting the board's anti-racism resolution. Is that the kind of divisiveness we're talking about? Perhaps. Anyone who opposes our district being honored needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves if they are supporting students or waving their own political flag. For those whose objection is truly one of principle, that schools should never host any elected official or any party, I look forward to the same response when the next president that they support chooses to honor our school district, regardless of party. The deafening silence.
Yeah, so, oh my gosh, I went away for a moment and came back to an amazing donation total. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I'm obsessed with you all. So, can you believe? Can you believe that this guy said that? I'm like, he's like, you need to look in the mirror. No, you look in the mirror. You look in the mirror, sir. Secret live stream, yeah. Oh yeah, you don't have to live in Georgia to donate. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jennifer, Terrence. There is a delay. Oh my gosh, you guys. Laurel, thank you. You don't have to live in Georgia to donate, but you do have to live in the United States. So if you don't live in the United States, you can share my streams, you can share my website. That's just how it is. Jennifer. I am not telling you that you should donate $1,000, but the goal for, or the little pop-up for $1,000 is fun. It's like fireworks and shit. I'm telling you, any amount you can give is helpful because, yay! You guys, thank you. You're the best. But any amount that, is there a reason people not in Georgia should donate? Just to support, because I think that, two reasons. People look to Georgia to see how the southern states are gonna go. It's just how it is. We've been a leader in the civil rights movement, and we are getting increasingly more purple by the day. Also, I wasn't gonna talk about this tonight, but it's something I'm very excited about. It is something called the National Popular Vote. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it is basically in direct competition with the Electoral College. So you can look it up, fact check me if you want. Okay, the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. So right now, you know that the Electoral College, each state gives a certain amount of electoral votes, and whoever gets to 270 wins the presidency, right? It's an outdated way of doing things. I do not support it. I think it's stupid. It's stupid. So this is a pact that several states have signed on to already. I think we're about 80% of the way there, where states promise that they will award all their electors not to the person who got the most votes in their state, but to the person who gets the popular vote in the entire country. So that would mean that Hillary would have won. Basically, if we were in this compact, Hillary would have won because she got more votes in the popular vote. We'd still be, where we are today with this one, but that's okay. So let me see, how far are we, or how close are we to achieving the national? So several states have signed on. I think that the most recent was, I think, Virginia. Okay, so far 18 states plus Washington, D.C. have joined, which means we are at 222 electoral votes. We are so close to being at the 270. The electoral votes needed are 270, remaining 48. Georgia, I believe, has 16. That would get us even closer. And so when I am elected, I will be pushing for this. I will be talking to other representatives about it because I think that it is super important. So That is another reason why you should donate to my campaign, but also because I am promising so much transparency, because that's what I've spent my entire adulthood doing, right? Is communicating with you guys for the past 20 years and explaining how things work and being transparent about it. And that is something that you will not get in any other representative. Thank you so much for your donations. You are killing it. I would also just ask you to look at the national popular vote and see if it's something that your state has promised to do, and congratulate them if they have, and if not, start working towards that in your state. If you want to be civically engaged, that is a goal that you can have. The person asking about super chat. Oh yeah, I can't do super chats because campaign finance law is very strict and I don't want to get in trouble. I'm sure I could do super chats here and then promise to put the money towards the campaign. But when you donate through Act Blue, you have to give information that anyone who donates to a campaign, thank you, Henry, that anyone who donates to a campaign should give. So that's your name, your address, your occupation, stuff like that. And I don't want to get in trouble. So I am trying, Phil and I have been so careful for the past 20 years of being in public life, and I think that it has done us well. We have been online for so long and we have not been canceled, knock on wood. And I think that is because of Phil being so careful. Thank you so much. Oh, you see the pop-ups now? Maybe I need to change the color. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to answer that question, because I'm also using these streams as an opportunity to really fine-tune my talking points and talk them out. I saw somebody talk about, where is it? The new prime minister? The merch, I think I have to sell the merch through Act Blue, so I don't think so. So some of my, hold on, I'm getting distracted. Small dollar donations make a difference. Our average dollar amount is, I think, $35. And that just shows that you're supported by the people, right? And that means more to me than anything. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, yeah, so my policies. All of my policies boil down to lower costs and higher standards. We need to have higher standards. Yay, thank you, Amber. Oh my God, yay. We need to have higher standards for the people that we elect and put into government positions. I am sick of us accepting that this is just the way things are, that people can't afford health insurance, that our schools are underfunded, that our teachers and our librarians and our administrators are getting villainized. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. That's crazy. And in Georgia, our property taxes keep going up, despite the fact the Republicans keep saying, we got to cut our property taxes. We got to cut our property taxes. They've been running on this same promise for years. And they're not going to fix it, because if they fix it, then they will have nothing else to run on at all. So the state is dramatically underfunding what it should be funding in our communities and passing the bill on to us. And I'm not cool with that. So that's one thing. I also think that investing early in our communities means investing in healthcare for people here. A lot of people don't realize you're already paying twice. When you refuse to give people healthcare that they can afford, that doesn't mean that you're not paying for them on the back end. It just means you're paying for them at a different time. Hospital bills are so expensive. You pay like $100 for an Advil. Part of that is because the hospitals have to make up the costs for covering uninsured people. So invest early. Force leadership to retire at 65. I would have said that, I don't know what age, maybe 70. I don't know. I do think there should be limits. I'm going to write down things that I want to get back to. Okay, Prime Minister. I do think there should be limits, but I don't know what it is. Thank you so much. What is one policy you want to push through for Georgia if I am elected? It would have to do probably with public schools or expanding Medicaid. We're one of the only states that has not fully expanded Medicaid, and we are actually refusing billions of dollars in our own tax money that the federal government is trying to give us to expand Medicaid, and we are saying, no thanks. What? That's crazy. I have a friend, and one day someone will help her. Yeah. I think term limits are a great idea. I also think that there should, and I don't know what those term limits should be yet, but I do know that people outgrow their usefulness. Like the woman who had this seat before me was in it for 24 years. I'm sorry, that's too long. Move on. Actually, here we go. I have decided that for me, when I get elected, I will only stay in this seat for 4 terms. That means 8 years. I think that is plenty to do good in this role and then hand it off to somebody younger and more connected with the community. 8 years, 4 terms. Hold me to it. Allison, I need to follow up with you afterwards. I greatly appreciate you. Okay, what I was going to say about Prime Minister ties back to a realization I had earlier this week, which sounds dumb, but as somebody who is in the news and has been in the news for a long time and has been paying attention for a long time, I always underestimated how out of the loop the average person is that doesn't rely on, thank you, Eben, who doesn't rely on staying connected as part of their job. I used to know everything that was happening in DC and in the federal government. And over the last few weeks, I haven't paid attention at all. I've just been paying attention to my campaign and Georgia politics. And it made me realize that if you are not seeking out this information, which why would a lot of people be if they don't even know what's going on? If you're not seeking out this information, you don't see it. So it's making me have more compassion for people who are not as upset and angry and activated as I am. The only way I see what's going on with Trump right now is if I search for it. It does not show up on my algorithm anymore. So then I think about people with jobs completely unrelated to news who have to work and have kids and have hobbies and so much to keep up with. They're not going to know everything that's going on. And that's frustrating for me, especially when the information that they do seek out could be so incredibly biased. So back to the Prime Minister, the comment reminded me, oh yeah, they have a new Prime Minister who I know nothing about. So thank you. I need to look it up. This is a really great question about arts and funding for local projects. I want, and I believe, that all of our money should come back to be reinvested in our communities for the good of everyone. I am sick of giving tax breaks to corporations. I am tired of giving billionaires tax breaks and our money going to a state surplus that just sits in the bank and does nothing. Our money, we pay so much money in taxes, and that should be reinvested in our communities to make our lives better. And they're not doing that. And that frustrates me. Thank you, Michael. I need to look into the Georgia grants for movies and tax credits. I don't think we do that anymore. I could be wrong. I need to look it up. Hi. You're so conditioned you thought it was a segue into ground news. That's funny. When I was doing my media literacy nonprofit, they were just coming up and I was like, this is a really great thing. Does Georgia still do film tax credits? Oh, they do. I was wrong. Well, that's cool. I feel like they cut something. Because I know that productions are moving out of Georgia. I spoke to someone, thank you, John. I spoke to someone a couple weeks ago who is having a hard time getting a job in film because a lot of the productions are moving away. Yeah, Marvel left. Okay, yeah. Actually, I want to look more into that because I would like to talk about that. Do you plan to do anything with pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure? Here's something interesting. I am planning, I haven't announced it officially yet, but on October 10th, the weekend of October 10th, I will be walking 47 miles across my district over either 2 or 3 days. I'm hoping it's just 2. And I practiced the other day by walking 10 miles, and none of it had sidewalks. None of it. None of it had sidewalks. So, yeah. I think that's needed. I also think expanding MARTA is needed. We need more infrastructure and public transport. They are talking about opening an NHL arena in the suburbs up here, and our public infrastructure and transportation is not going to support that. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that project to happen, as far as I know right now. But I would love more sidewalks. That and more variety of different kinds of food. That's the only thing I miss about LA. Is this real DeFranco? Check your local city council to see if you're well represented. That is where you really need to start. That is where you need to start to see what's going on. Hi, Georgie. Yeah. If someone wanted to, thank you. If someone wanted to run for local office because they're fed up with current politicians, where would you recommend they start? I would recommend getting involved in your local, if you're a Democrat or Republican, your local chapter. So I'm in North Fulton. So I would recommend going to North Fulton meetings. I would recommend more North Fulton Democrats meetings. I would recommend going to your city council meetings, reading the agendas, talking to people who are there because they're all very civically engaged. I would recommend getting involved in current campaigns. We are always looking for volunteers, and that is how you start to learn. I did it a little backwards. I was connected with Deborah Shigley by a friend who lives across the street when I told him I was fed up and I was ready to do something. And she kind of was guiding me. And then I did a program called Emerge. If you're a woman, if you're a Democratic woman and you want to run, please check out Emerge. I did their boot camp version. So it was like 12-hour days over a weekend. And I basically learned everything I needed to know about being a candidate and running for office. And it was the most rewarding experience. I've met so many good friends. My friend Nikki Porche, who's running for labor commissioner, she was in that. My friend Whitney Echenique, who's running up in District 2, Marjorie Taylor Greene's area, love her. She was in that. Susanna Karatasis, who is running in Athens for State House, she was in that with me. There are so many things that you can do and publicly available information. Something that really frustrates me, and it's something, we're dealing with right now, is I think we are missing out on so many qualified, brilliant candidates because of the money in politics. There's a reason that people accept PAC money and dark money because it's necessary most of the time. I am doing these live streams and stuff and utilizing the audience that I've built over the past 20 years because I refuse to do that. I understand how it is tempting, though. I understand how it's tempting. Yes, so this did count as a school board thing, or start as a school board thing. I did initially want to run for this seat, but the incumbent she was in her position since 2002, and I thought that is not a fight that I should take up my first time. So one of the main reasons that I got into politics in the first place was because I wanted to support our public schools. Thank you, Ken. I wanted to support our public schools, and I was frustrated because my son's teacher got fired for unfair reasons. And I also looked at how our librarians and our teachers and our administrators are being vilified for doing their jobs. That pissed me off. And I wanted to impact change. So I was happy with running against the woman who was currently on the school board. So I put a lot of effort into that. And that's actually what I did the Emerge training for, but I still learned all the other stuff because in the class, everyone's running for different things. And it's the end of the day and my ADHD medicine's wearing off. So this is great brain power for me. Oh, so it was the night before I was going to go file my paperwork for school board. And there's only 1 week that you can actually qualify to run for positions in Georgia. So you can follow your DOI, which means Declaration of Intent, several months before the qualifying week. And that allows you to put a team together, start raising money and stuff like that. That's you're saying, I intend to start fundraising and collecting money so that I'm going to run for office. But there's actually only 1 week, and it was the first week in March that you could qualify. So depending on what office you're running for, you'd either go down to the Capitol or you would go to like a county office and you would file the paperwork, it gets notarized, everything. So the night before I was going to go do that, my campaign manager called me, and I had been trying to find someone to run for this seat when I saw that the incumbent had retired, like very last minute, and they put a very young man in her place. And I thought it would look bad if I left the school board race, especially given the person I was running against, but I digress. He called me and he said, we still haven't found someone to run for this seat, and I think you should do it. I think you have a really good chance. And I said, I'm going to need a minute to think about it. Let me sleep on it. Hung up the phone, talked to Phil, called my manager back an hour later, and because I didn't need to sleep on it, I knew I was going to say yes, and I said, let's fucking go. Let's do it. LFG, you know what I mean? So, what's the best way to reduce classroom sizes? The best way to reduce classroom sizes is to adequately fund our public schools. I am so sick of Georgia politicians, and I guess politicians everywhere, not prioritizing our public schools. And I say adequately fund because fully fund is different than adequately fund. In Georgia, there's something called QBE, which is the formula that basically they use to determine how much your school needs in funding. And this formula has not been changed since 1985. And that's batshit crazy to me because we have so many new things that we need to account for. Anyway, so they're not investing enough money. They're investing less and less money every year. And they're villainizing teachers, and people are pulling, oh, we hit 3,000. Yay. Thank you, Alexa. And so we need to be able to afford to have more teachers and more services. I have this whole packet here talking about this, and I need to just have a stream where I just start off talking about it because I don't want to mess it up. But if we don't fix it, the bill keeps landing on the local, on the cities. And so our tax rates go up and our money keeps getting pulled out. So, and I think it is intentional. Yeah, there's a total lack of appreciation for teachers and support for schools. I have not met one person who is like, teachers get paid too much. Teachers have an easy job. They get paid too much. Not one. But we still keep voting for people who don't give a shit about our teachers. And thank you so much. First political donation, thank you. You can donate, and if you don't have the money to donate, you can volunteer with a campaign. I look at state legislatures as the firewall that protects you from the federal government and the overreach that they are participating in. It is disgusting. And if you don't vote for the right people, they're going to trample all over us. Yeah, so in terms of librarians, I testified on a bill earlier this year where they were wanting to be able to arrest librarians for having objectionable content in their libraries. I was enraged about this bill, and I wrote out a statement, and I was ready to go. And I went and I very politely said, "You're fucking crazy." And I was fired up, and I got hit back with questions from people on the committee, which I was not ready for, and I wish I had said more eloquent things, but I made my point. The attack on our education. So I think there's attacks on our education system from a lot of different sources, but except the people that actually are in it. To be honest, a good social media campaign beats out the dollar by dollar race. I hope so. Okay, let me put it this way. I've lived my entire life, adult life, online, and I'm 37, and my opponent is 24 or 25. His voter registration and other stuff has 2 different ages, which is weird, but whatever, 24 or 25, nonetheless, very young. He bought his website in 2020. And so I have a long history on the internet of speaking my mind and saying things and making videos and like tweeting every single thought I ever had through COVID. So they apparently have an opposition file on me that is like this thick. And I'm not surprised. So campaigns hire people who are very effective at negative messaging. So I don't know what they're going to do. And it scares me a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, this is, I put me out there for everyone to see for 20 years. And so there's good that comes with that, and there's bad that comes with that. But there's also an element of transparency that I think can't be beat. And even if you might not agree with everything I say, you know where I stand, and I will always tell you where I stand. And if I change my mind, I tell you. I think changing your mind is one of the most mature things a human can do. It shows maturity, and I am trying to rebrand I was wrong to I learned something new. I think we need to embrace that. And yeah, social media, and that's okay. So social media campaigns do cost a lot of money, and that is something that I feel very fortunate to have here. Don't have to pay for that. Let me think how to say this. I got the estimate for how much my comms package is going to cost, which means advertisements, mailers, blah, 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 blah. Not counting social media, because I can do this on my own. And it's like, ugh. But it's necessary. It is the most effective way of reaching people. But my opponent, he was in a runoff, and between the primary and the runoff, which was like a month, these corporate PACs sent out 33 mailers for him. Oh no, I take it back. He sent out 6. The corporate PACs sent out 33. And I will not be accepting that money for those mailers, so I have to foot that bill myself. So that's just part of the landscape that you're going to see me involved in soon. And before I even announced that I was running, I had to weigh the pros and cons of this, right? Like, opposition file, this thick, my whole past out there. But at the end of the day, I realized that fear was not a luxury that I could afford or wanted to have anymore. My convictions were stronger than my fear. And I know that I am so right for this position, both for Democrats and conservative or traditional conservatives and Republicans. And so I'm willing to put everything out there on the line. I can't live in fear of that, knowing that I have this incredible opportunity to fix or be a part of fixing and saving our state from bad actors. So, whew, I couldn't breathe saying that. That was like straight from the heart. That was very vulnerable. Yeah. How else can you help boost the streams this week? I'll post more. I was very busy today writing some stuff, but I'll keep pushing them out. So even if you can't donate, like even if you could share that, that would be fantastic. I would so appreciate it. If you are a red-blooded American, you have a checkered past. I know, but not this guy. We have an Oppo file on him, but it's not that thick. But the juicy info is on the people behind him who are backing him. Yeah. Oh, for you, it's about not being afraid to send your babies to public school. Yeah, I know. I think about that every day, and I've been thinking about it a lot this week. Something happened. Something to mention too about the state passing on costs to counties and localities is that last year, don't quote me on the timing, it was sometime around last year or this year in session, they were like, we're going to get metal detectors for all the schools. Now, there's a ton of background research on metal detectors, on if they're effective in preventing crimes or not in schools. That's not what I'm talking about right now. But I thought, if we're not going to do anything with the gun problem here, great, let's do the metal detectors. Well, the state wasn't going to pay for those. So there was basically this bill that said, we're going to do metal detectors and the school board has to pay for it. Meanwhile, Fulton County School Board's like, we're operating at almost $100 million deficit. You want us to buy metal detectors now? Like, it's so backwards. I think what I'm going to do in order to talk about all my stuff on education, I have to make a PowerPoint. I have to really go into the education to make a PowerPoint. Let me see if I missed anything. I will stay until we hit 3,500. But wait, that might entice you to not donate. Okay, I will stay until 8:20. So if you have any questions, put them in here. You don't know a single person above 50K a year. Do you know what the minimum wage is here in Georgia? It's $5.15. If you have a company of over 6 people, they match the federal minimum wage at $7.25. There was an attempt in the Senate this year, in the state Senate, to raise it to, I think, $15 an hour. And the Republicans were like, nah. And then the Senate, the people pushing for it were like, okay, can we like raise it from $5.15 to $7.20? And the senators were like, nah. Oh, you're editing a paper about school metal detectors now? Okay, so what does your paper say? Because I was reading a book about making schools places making them such accepting and lovely places that a kid would never even consider doing something horrific like that. And then they went into how metal detectors aren't that good because they can be skirted around, but they also create a fake or a false sense of security so that people don't look out as much. I don't know. Because that's one of the times where the evidence isn't quite clicking. The studies aren't quite clicking. I would think that it would help, but I don't know. This is a moment where I can acknowledge that the studies say something different than what my brain can accept, and I need to look into it more. Do I like video games? I like Stardew Valley, and I've had to stop playing it because once I play, I can't stop. And in Georgia, I scrolled up to look at the comments, and oh my gosh. Oh, in Georgia, I believe they lowered the requirement, or they lowered the threshold for which you can get help for childcare. And I believe if it's a family of 4, if you make over $35,000 a year, you don't qualify. Please feel free to check me on any of these things because I'm pulling them off the top of my head. Like, what do you mean? Childcare here, like, sometimes costs more than in-state college tuition. School metal detectors have always been make people feel better measure. Yeah. How do I feel about online education? I think it's great. I did it in college a lot, and it was also the way that I graduated high school a year early. I was ready to get out. I was ready to go. But I do not think that, oh goodness, this is going to get into a whole nother thing. I don't think that, I'm not a fan of school vouchers. I think that public funds should be invested in public schools. In Fulton County, we already have school choice, which is a student in Fulton County can go to any Fulton County school as long as there's availability. So there is school choice. What I am not a fan of is public funds being put into vouchers so that people can use those vouchers to go to private schools. I don't think that's right. I've never met somebody who's like, I can't wait to move to this area because they have great private schools. And also, the vouchers don't even cover the whole cost of the private school. So all you're really doing is supplementing and giving funds to people who already can afford those private schools. Additionally, private schools don't have any oversight. So yeah, I don't want my money going to pay for private schools that the teachers don't have to be certified by the state of Georgia. There's no core curriculum. They don't have to admit students with disabilities. Yay, we hit 3,500. Oh, it's a little higher over here, but yeah. Yeah. And so on the note of online schools, if it's a public school and your kid wants to go to public school and do online, let's help with that, but not if it's a private school. Yay, we did it. Yes, thank you. I will still stay, like I said, I will stay till 8:20. Computers in school, I think they're bullshit. At my son's school, there's a 1-to-1 ratio, and I am so mad about it. I didn't even know my son was dyslexic until this year because his teachers didn't know, because the computer programs they do everything on, they're barely even writing. They don't catch spelling errors. So my son didn't know he couldn't spell. We didn't know there was a problem. So I took him to a place that had to diagnose him, and they were like, oh my God, he's dyslexic. Didn't know that. Imagine if we funded the schools better and had specialists there and didn't use all the computers, and we were able to catch that before your son is in 5th grade. Imagine. Why would we publicly fund an institution that owes no credence to our rules? Exactly. Wait, a law school removed computers? What? I think that's crazy. College? Yes, bring back computer labs. Kids don't need to be doing all their work on a computer. They're doing computers and screens at home. Why are you crying? You wanna go outside? Philly? You wanna go outside? The doggies are here. Hang on a sec. I know, I'm sorry. I can't get up. Cap the schoolroom at 15 kids, 30 is too much. I agree, 30 is too much, and we need to pay our teachers better and better fund them. Let me call him. I can't get up because I have PJ shorts on, and that is inappropriate. Thank you, Jordan. Hi, can you let the dogs out, please? They're crying at me.
Yeah, I just got the text.
Love you, bye. Financial literacy, yes, absolutely. And media literacy. In the state legislature this year, I keep looking for like what they want to try to put in the curriculum. And they didn't want to do media literacy, but they wanted gun safety training in K through 12. Can you give them a treat maybe? Yeah. I'll be done in 10 minutes.
You're good. Really?
It was Georgia that was crying. Do kids learn how to type properly on a keyboard? I don't know. But I do want to say that if a child cannot afford to have a computer at home to do their homework and to learn on, I'm fine with the school providing that. I think that's necessary. Yeah, K through 12 gun safety. Yeah. And another bill that they chose to waste time on was making it illegal to have any flag in a public school that was not the USA flag or the Georgia flag. Ponder. Think about that for a sec. Oh gosh, there's so many. Perhaps when I make this this PowerPoint, it's gonna be forever. It's gonna talk about everything. But really, that's my main thing is public schools, money coming back to our communities, affordability, property taxes. Our property taxes have gone up so much that people are being priced out of their homes. And like, it doesn't make any sense. The property taxes are rising exponentially, but that doesn't mean that the people who live in their homes, that their salaries are going up. That doesn't mean that seniors on a fixed income can afford that or that young families can afford that. We are pricing people out of the communities that they live in and that they love. Learning is way better by handwriting. That's what I have to do as well. USA flag or Georgia flag. Thank you, Hope. You guys, wearing this sweater was good luck. This is my fundraising sweater from now on. All right, guys. We'll do any more questions for 8 minutes, and then we will go. I'm just checking to see if I missed anything. To reward you for still being here, and to say thank you, I wanted to say that if you live in Georgia, I've been inviting people to come to my canvassing events, and everyone's busy and it's hot, etc. So we're having 2 special guests come to my canvassing event on August 8th, and that would be the Philip DeFranco and the Alex Perlman, also known as the Crashing Out Duo. Yes, they will be coming to the first part of my canvas on August 8th. And if you would like to come, you can go to lindsayfordga.com/doors and sign up. Thoughts of separation in church and state? Separation of church and state is fundamental to our way of life. And I am sick of people trying to import these values into our government. It is not okay. I will never be okay with it. And I can't believe that people who have so revered the Constitution for so long are okay with it. Have a good night, Hobo Jim. Hi, Lillian. I see you, and you're cool. Oh, I did not crochet this. My mom got it for me for Christmas. I asked her about it like years ago, and I was like, do you know anybody who could do this? And I think she just ended up finding it and buying it. I'm getting so much more comfortable with these streams. So thank you so much. Don't tell me more video games to play, please. No, can't do it. I have too much to do. Do you guys see this little thing right here? Isn't she cute? I got her on Etsy. As a resident of another state, yes, you can come knock doors and do whatever you want. But I'm asking that, it's hard to be a little bitchy, but if you don't plan to stay for the canvas when Phil and Alex are there, please don't. Where and what time canvassing event? If you go to, I'll type it in, lindsay4j.com/doors. You can sign up for all of the canvases there. And then if you live in my district or around my district and you want to host like a meet and greet, we're calling them venting sessions. They're free as long as you live in or around the district. I'm happy to do it. You don't have to be Democrat. You don't have to be Republican. You just need to be in the district or around it. And I'm happy to come chat with you and your friends. And that is lindsay4ga.com/vent. You're going to go see Phil and Alex in Portland. Fun. We were actually just talking about how this is coincidentally the busiest time of either of our lives. And unfortunately, it's going to happen at the same time. But I told him when they were doing the planning for the tour, I was like, you cannot be gone in October. I'm going to need you here in October, both for me and for the children, because that is going to be when I'm going crazy. Running for office is the ultimate crash out. I mean, Jared, you just had us hit $4,000. Oh my God. I'm gonna cry. Don't cry. Did your makeup. Don't cry. You guys, we're doing this. We're really fucking doing this. That one is great. Ah, thank you so much. Oh my God. What is 340B? You found a video of when I was at Comic-Con? There's videos of me everywhere. Comic-Con. That was so long ago. I don't even... In my head, I'm like, have I been to Comic-Con? I have. Only once, though. When you got so frustrated, you must run for office. Yeah, seriously. Is that not the ultimate crash out? I was so sick of waiting for somebody to fix this. So I will be here tomorrow. It might be at 8. I'm not sure. I have a really busy afternoon, but I'm hoping that once I get off of this stream, I can set up the programming and everything for tomorrow so that I can just come back here. And then Phil and Alex have a show in Atlanta on the 25th of September that I will be at. It's before Phil and I got married. Oh, yeah. So it was before. So that means, oh, is it that summer? Yes. Oh, my God. Okay, yeah, I remember now. Oh, my God. We almost broke up during that trip. We were not a couple that like broke up a lot, but like I was really wanting to get married and we had been trying to have Trey and like, wow. Cause I was just like, I want to be with this guy forever. Like we can have a baby, whatever. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was so long ago. Oh, thank you so much. Phil and I definitely have grown together. Like I say a lot that if I hadn't moved away and if we hadn't like found ourselves apart from like our families and our homes, I don't think we would have grown as much as people and grown together. breaking up at Comic-Con would suck. I know. I'm trying to remember like what the issue was, and I don't even remember what it was. Yeah, and now Trey is starting middle school. Yeah, we've been together since, oh my God, 2007. I've not seen The Odyssey, but Phil has. Okay. I just want to say thank you so much for coming to this live stream. You guys made this. Thank you, Noelle. You're the last one. Yay. You guys make my heart happy, and you make me believe that eventually, if we can make live streaming a normal thing, not just for me, but for all candidates, because I believe that being accessible to people who want to vote for us and to other people who need to be inspired to join in not only civic life, but in running for office, we need to find other ways to fund campaigns and other ways to connect with our voters. And I think that this is a much better use of time than calling people and asking for money or just hoping that somebody pays attention. And so I'm trying really hard to lay the groundwork, even though knowing that I am somebody who already has an audience. I'm hoping that somehow I can successfully do this and then help other candidates successfully do it and normalize this sort of back and forth. I also know that Hovercast, the people who did like my goal bar and stuff, they are trying to make this more accessible for all candidates. And so that would be wonderful. And we just need a lot of change in terms of campaigning and fundraising so that people don't feel like they have to take money from corporations and PACs and lobbyists and owe anything to anybody. So thank you so much. I love you. You're awesome. I will see you tomorrow. I was going to say love your faces. That whole thing, it is ingrained in my brain.